I'm going to go over the training rules for this training. First of all, I want to say we all bring experience to the table. I am not the all-knowing expert. I don't even really consider myself to be very technically adept, but I do have a lot of experience, which I'll talk about in a minute, with technology, media, and community building. So everyone is welcome here. I only have one thing I don't tolerate, which is intolerance. So, you know, I just ask that everyone be kind and considerate to everyone else, which includes when, you know, you're responding to someone, you know, come take a breath and make sure that you're coming from a place of respect. I don't know, before you respond, especially if you're feeling very emotional, you know, just take a moment or just be silent and listen. And leave your mic on mute when you're not speaking, especially when you're in a large group like this, because we can get feedback or, you know, hear, you know, the shuffling and things that are happening in the background, which could be distracting in a big group like this. And if you have a technical problem, again, please send a private chat message to Severn and be ready to have fun. All right. So I put this together. It started out with the request for training on citizen journalism, again by Jay, who reached out to me and asked if I could do that. And I was like, yeah, totally, that'd be really cool. And then coronavirus hit, and I just saw that everyone in our communities were suffering from isolation and you know, trying to navigate this whole new world of not being able to gather for some indefinite period of time. And so instead of doing a citizen journalism training, I decided to do a digital activism training and really help you guys just to navigate how to do all of the important work that you're doing in activism using digital tools instead of our in-person tools. So the first part of this is what we're doing right now, and that's cultivating our digital community. So I really thought a lot about what tools to use here. And I know some people don't like Facebook very much, but unfortunately, I do think it is the best tool at the moment for building community. I say unfortunately because I don't like their privacy policies, and also I just feel like their search functionality kind of sucks, and there's some clunkiness that, you know, I think other technology maybe could do better. But all the people that you want to reach, the huge majority are on Facebook. So it is a good place for reaching people, and it's a good place for community because they have these groups that you can set up. And I've set up one for our group, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But once you join that Facebook group, we can use that group as a way for you to have a supportive community that is willing to help you get your message out, which is going to be awesome, especially as we go to the next part of this series. And then the other, well, I'll get into Keybase a little bit later, but that's kind of the other side, which is a encrypted application. And so that's much better for communicating things that are maybe a little bit more private, where you don't necessarily want to have that those privacy issues that you might have with Facebook. And then the next section, which will be next Tuesday at 2, is going to be the citizen journalism using digital storytelling. And so this is going to be kind of the initial idea of really looking at how do we tell a compelling story, how do we get our message out, and you know, have people really hear us and want to share and spread that and make an impact and a difference. And for that, we're going to be using Twitter, which is like a much more public way to communicate information than Facebook. It's much more searchable. And we're also going to be using YouTube so we can make videos, and tell video stories as well. Just talk about storytelling and the concepts of storytelling and how to do that digitally. And then the last section is going to be taking digital actions. And so that's going to be how we're going to replace these really, these important actions that we take, of often getting together in groups, marching, protesting with signs, really making it visible, banner drops, all of these things that we typically use as activists, as tools that we have to rethink right now in order to keep our members safe. I think that we can not only replace all of those actions with digital actions that will be powerful, but even in the future, once this, we're able to meet and gather in groups again, we're still going to want to use these digital tools in addition to those in-person tools. So it'll just make us that much stronger to learn this stuff. And for that, we're going to be using Instagram and Signal. And I won't go into all of that in too much depth, except for to say that eventually you're going to know how to use all of these tools. And in knowing how to use these tools, you'll be able to more easily use other tools, and it'll become like a language that you know and that you're able to access. And that's going to be really powerful. And I hope will help you to feel less isolated and less vulnerable right now, like in this situation where you can kind of feel like, hey, I've got this cool power, superpower that I can use. So, all right, a little bit about us. I joined Extinction Rebellion Tucson about, 5 or 6 months ago, I think. Maybe not even that long. It hasn't been very long. The person that was helping to run that group, Severn, you there?
Yeah. Hi.
Go ahead and
Yes.
yourself.
Yeah. So I'm Severn Heredia. I am a community organizer for Extinction Rebellion, and I'll be providing technical support for all 3 of these trainings. Do you want me to just kind of introduce Extinction Rebellion?
Yeah, I would love that.
So Extinction Rebellion started in the UK, and then it made its way over to the US about a year and a half ago now. And basically, it's a global movement that uses nonviolent direct action in an attempt to halt mass extinction. It's been very successful in the UK and done some great things, and we hope to bring that over here in the US. And that's all I have.
Well, I just really, I want to say thank you. You've been such a great leader, and it was really nice for me just to show up to a meeting and see like someone just really like taking action and gently helping a group, grow and thrive. And so anyway, I want to thank you for that and for being our tech support today. So then as for about me, my name is Tamar again, and I have a background in media. I was a film and video degree and was in the industry for a long time, making productions of various kinds. I worked for a time for a company called lynda.com that does online instructional training. So I had a lot of nervousness putting this together because that's like a lot of pressure to do something really well, just because I directed all these experts, doing training like this. Before that, I kind of just naturally gravitated towards building communities, and I did have a group that I created called the Indie Co-op for independent producers in Santa Barbara. And we used this website called Ning that was like a social networking site that I think probably doesn't exist anymore because that was like a way long time ago. But using that site, we got together like monthly in person, and we would have these really cool, screenings, and people would kind of talk about what jobs they had and who they were, what they were looking for, if they were hiring or if they were looking for work. A lot of people got work from that and made friendships and, did productions together. So it was like really, it was cool having that community back then. And then my more recent community building experience happened when I moved to Boulder and I had my second child. And I was like pretty isolated. And so I started this group called Boulder Babies that was just a Facebook group, and it kind of like took off and got really big. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. I'm going to use that as a case study. But what I found was that by building these communities, both digitally and in person, that there was a lot that I got out of that of support. And I think that's one of the most valuable things about a community. So talk a little bit more about Facebook and Keybase. So again, Facebook has this group function, and I've found that to be super valuable in my own life. My youngest son has Down syndrome, and through Facebook groups, I've been able to connect to people all over the world that also have children with Down syndrome. And so again, as much as I don't like certain aspects of Facebook, I can't think of a better platform for community, for building a community and keeping a community going. So that's why we're going to use Facebook today. And, and you're welcome to take the same principles to other applications if you want, if you can't stand Facebook. And then Keybase. Not to get too into the technical weeds, but Keybase is encrypted chatting. So what that means, encryption just makes it so that your conversations are more private. So it's not easy for, say, the government or a hacker or whatever to read your messages back and forth that you want to be private. And Keybase works kind of like a chat room where you have teams of people and you can chat with each other, and it's very private. So I think Keybase is really great for activism and activist groups who want to just like have an easy way to kind of connect with members that maybe want their identity or their participation in the group to be a little more private. So on that note, let's talk about why community is important. This is from the last Star Wars movie, and it just kind of stuck in my head. This character says to another character, "They win by making you think you're alone." And I thought, oh, that is so true. And right now, as I am sitting here in my, isolation, I think that's more true than ever, that when we're trying to accomplish big things, we're so much more effective together. But when we think we're alone and that we don't have people to support us in what we're trying to accomplish, a lot of times we don't achieve what we want to. So we are not alone, and even if we are in isolation, we have supportive people out there that care about the same things we care about, that we can tap into, because we are a community, and together we can win the battles that we're trying to fight for our environment and for other important issues. So the things that we do when we're in community is we meet new people, we make connections, we make friendships, we gather in groups, and we support each other. And we can do all of these things in our digital community, just not in person. I just want to talk through the Boulder, my experience with Boulder babies. There's over 3,000 members now, which is crazy. And from that group, we actually, a smaller group of us created this babysitting exchange that I'm very jealous is still going on today. There's over 60 members of the group. I don't know, there's 42 people want to join this group, so I don't know what's happening right now. I don't live in Boulder anymore, so I don't get to take advantage of the babysitting group that we set up. But it was really fun. We had our own currency that we made, Boulder Baby Bucks, and it was a really neat experience. The reason that I started Boulder Babies, it really started because I was lonely, and I wanted to be able to make just more of connections with the moms and dads that I was meeting at my parent groups. Like I'd go to these little, new parent groups and with my baby, and I'd maybe meet somebody and we'd have a little conversation, but then I didn't have a way to like continue that connection that was easy. And so I started the group, and it kind of like, a few people joined that I had met, and maybe there were like, 20 of us, 30 of us. But it wasn't really like growing until the dirt of me just being really honest about being so lonely and isolated as a parent, because it's a really big life change, and it's not always roses. When I started to be honest, I noticed that I got a lot more response from people. People then felt like there was an opening for them to really talk about their experience as parents. And so people started posting more and inviting more people to the group, and the group just organically started to grow really well. And at a certain point, I would say when there were maybe, over 250 people, maybe more, we started to have like growing pains. In that we started to have people that were just wanting to kind of sell stuff to other people and post about it, and kind of take advantage of the growth of the community in that way. So we had to start pruning and, really making sure that the members were in there for the right reasons. Also, there was like kind of a gross situation that happened where someone tried to join that wasn't a parent, and I just had a creepy feeling, and I kind of looked at that person's profile, and so then I didn't accept them as a member to the group. And then I started getting these weird member requests where I felt like that person was there to look at our kids' pictures maybe, or something unpleasant. So there's some guidelines as you have a community, as you're growing, of you only want members that are there for the good of the community, and you really need good leadership and good rules around that. So we don't have people just trying to sell or take advantage or come in and do something unsavory. But the harvest of that is that now you have this huge community of support for thousands of people. In this case, really warms my heart how many people use this Facebook group still to this day all the time, to reach out and say like, hey, I don't know what to do about this situation. And they just get so much support, of other parents giving advice. Or I've seen people say, how can I help? Can I show up to your house and hold your baby for you, or like whatever, and so even though this community is a digital community, it's also a live community. It's located in Boulder, and so people do interact in real life as well. All right, so let's create our community. So I have already set up in Facebook a community for us. It's called the Digital Garden. And I'm gonna pause here a minute, and I'm gonna send you guys a link to that, and then just ask you to raise your hand if you have a question about anything I've said so far, or you want to make a comment or anything like that. So I have some suggested community rules, but I haven't established any community rules for this group yet. And then I should also say that we also have a Keybase group that I've set up as well, called the digital, and it's just digital_garden in Keybase. Let's see what's happening. Seeing something orange. Oh, just somebody's turning. Okay. For now, just focusing on Facebook, I think we can apply whatever rules we come up with to both groups. If you join this group, you're agreeing to be respectful. You're agreeing to be an active member of the community. You're not just going to sit there and, not use the community until you need someone to spread your message. If someone says, hey, can you please share this petition or this really important article or whatever, you're going to, help that person by liking their post, adding a comment to it, sharing it with your people, both in Facebook and in other domains. And those are kind of the rules that I would recommend that we have. But I would like the whole community here to kind of decide what you guys think that the rules should be. So who can join? What questions do we want to ask our members? There's a function where when someone asks to join, you can make them like answer some questions first, like why do you want to join? And, are you, cool? And then what agreements are we going to ask them to abide by? So we, can post our rules of like, hey, we expect members to do X, Y, or Z. And what are the expectations? So now I'm going to try this thing that
is this a real group, or are you doing this as a demonstration, or are we creating a real Tucson XR group right now?
This is thanks. This is a real group. Well, it's so far only I just set it up, so there's no one in there but me. It's a really lonely little community. But yeah, no, I would like for you to actually join the group and actually utilize the group. What I want from these trainings isn't just to kind of talk about a lot of stuff. I want you to do it so you have the experience doing it, you have the guidance, and then we've created something together. So absolutely, I really do want you to join the community and help come up with the rules. Yeah.
So it's different than XR Tucson Facebook group?
Yes. So this, I just made the digital garden because I know there are people who are taking this training who are not in Extinction Rebellion. There are like climate coalition partners. And so I just wanted to make a general community group that anyone with this kind of motivation could join. Who else?
How about progressive activists?
Love it. Oh, this is interesting. So it doesn't show you typing. It just shows it when it
afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
People who want to share digital actions. For example, I just got a petition from Sunrise to go for the coronavirus bailout, but I bet XR didn't get that. So if there are people who want to share like that, and then they can be from other groups here and then send actions out to other groups. So we all get on petitions, we all get to marches, we all get to, collaborate.
Awesome. So yeah.
So that's more of a purpose than who gets to come.
Well, we could call it digital activists.
Yeah, sharing
Activist news.
sharing actions. Yeah.
Awesome.
There we go. Thank you.
Suggest people who, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
People who have been trained in nonviolence.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. So, nonviolent communicators.
Nonviolent activists.
Nonviolent activists. Peaceful peacemakers.
Peaceful was already at the top, but I
Maybe
wanted
we
to be more
could say
specific.
activists and then put all the different words after that.
Love it. Yeah.
Good idea.
Activists who are peaceful change makers, environmentalists, storytellers, progressive,
Mhm.
etc., like that.
So when we, I can pop Facebook up in a little bit, and we can actually make that all the various adjectives with the word activist at the end. I like that a lot.
More concise.
Yeah. Anyone else on who can join, or should we move on to what questions to ask before members join?
Another one would be people who think before they act.
Maybe that could be in the questions. Do you think before you act?
I'm still saying it should be a requirement, because a mistake that I've seen in groups is people who do lots of action without having done the homework beforehand.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Sure.
that's why I'm adamant about that one.
Okay. Did we get that in there? I hear some typing, but then, oh, there.
Sorry. It's a little weird because I can't go back and move it. I have to keep finding spots to add things.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. This is new for me too. So. But
It works.
It's neat. It's working. Yeah. Okay. So what other, what questions should we ask for members to join? And I think like we're just throwing things out at this point, so don't think there's a wrong answer. And then eventually we'll want to just have the maximum of like 3 questions. We don't want to have people have to like fill out like a long form. But what other questions might we ask people before they join?
What experience have you had in activism?
I have a quick question for this group, and that is, should we focus on climate activism or environmental activism?
That's a good question.
Because there's every kind of activism, you know, on Earth. So I just wonder how focused this wants to be.
To prevent extinction.
Yeah, but the question would still be valid to say, what experience have you had in activism, regardless, because to see whether they have already known how to take part in nonviolent demonstrations, how they've done this, done that. It wouldn't matter whether they were a pacifist or whether they had been for abortion rights.
Oh, I'm aware of that. This is an additional different,
Yeah.
totally different.
Yeah.
And it's
Making a good point. I'm not negating what you're saying.
For everyone here, just to see how focused we want the questions and the people to be.
Great. Maybe can we have a little vote just to make it easy? So if you think that this group should only be for people who are concerned about the environment and that are environmental activists, raise your hand by, your virtual hand.
Virtual hand.
So,
Don't know how to do that.
That's in the reactions.
so once again, it's down that participants. If you click on that, that
Oh,
should
right.
give you a way to raise your hand. Yeah.
Severn, did you want to raise your hand or not?
For whether it's going to be only climate, I'm open to both. If we want to have more activists from other, well, because like I think about the anti-war activism, and that's kind of related to, I mean, that's definitely related to climate. So would they be allowed in then if we're only limiting to, I mean, they're not specifically an environmental organization, but yet like that has a lot to do with the environment. I mean, war is very destructive, and so that's
I
kind
agree.
of along what I think about when we are limiting it only to climate groups, because there's a lot of other groups that are doing great things, but it does affect the environment as well.
I agree.
Yeah. So I think everyone who's here is part of the environmental coalition, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that we all probably have other issues we also care about and are involved in. So I think we could say this is for environmental activists, the group, but that in our rules we can say, if you have something else you're passionate about, you're welcome to share that, so that our group may be composed of people who care about the environment, but then we've also opened it up, like if you have a social justice issue that's really pressing for you, you can go ahead and use this as well. What do you guys think?
I like that. I think that works.
It's more inclusive.
Yeah, I agree too.
Yeah, makes sense.
So maybe in agreements or expectations, then we can put that although the group is for environmentalists, that we welcome their other activist content, and we'll support as we can. Very wordy.
Related concerns.
What's that?
And related concerns.
Yeah, I think that sounds good, because then, if other people wanted to use this as a resource, not only for sharing events and actions, but also, the tools that we can share and guidance that other people can find useful, I guess, just so long as they're not going to be using these tools for nefarious ends or anything. But yeah, I think opening up to a broader coalition would be valuable for people who are looking for these kinds of resources right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we have a lot of words on the who can join that aren't environmentalists. So it is pretty encompassing if we, include, peaceful change makers, storytellers, progressives, nonviolent. So what expectations do we have of our members then?
Well, peaceful is one of the main premises in the XR group is in general.
Yeah.
Is that number one?
Nonviolence. Yeah. Peaceful.
Nonviolence.
I mean, I like peaceful because I like to say things in the positive rather than what we don't want.
It's nice.
I'd say respectful.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, of all members, but that goes for, you know, like facilitators that are facilitating meetings and, yeah.
I think tolerance is another thing that's important to me. It kind of goes along peaceful and respectful, but you know, like not maybe non-judgmental. What is the positive of non-judgmental? Open-minded. I don't know.
Cooperative in group settings.
Cooperative.
That wasn't what I said, open-minded. Cooperative in group settings.
I'm thinking of one member who came, she hasn't come back, but when we individually introduced ourselves, she was, she divulged that she really didn't want to be part of groups, and she had, I don't know, she tried to express issues around that. So I think of her that she might be cooperative, but not, you know, be part of she doesn't want to be cooperative group, but she wants to be cooperative in the group. These are semantics, but she might, if it says cooperative in a group, she wouldn't show up.
Right.
And I think she should be included if she wanted to be.
Yeah.
That just comes to my mind.
Well, yeah, inclusive, and then also just showing up. Showing up is huge, right?
Participants. Participation.
Yeah.
What word was that? Participation.
Yeah. Anything else?
One of XR's is keep the commitments you make. Keep your commitments.
Tell the truth.
Yeah.
Sounds like maybe that's pretty good.
Another one, I guess, would be not a gossiper.
Oh, yeah. Like protecting the privacy of others.
That
too.
would work. That's better said than mine. Protecting the privacy of others.
Yeah, so that might be an agreement that we ask people to abide by, is that, you know, the discussions are of the group, the things that we ask people to share, they share, and the people that and when we don't ask to be shared, that we're not sharing outside. Yeah.
Is that anonymity or there's probably one word for that. Can't think of.
Confidentiality.
Confidential. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one.
I kind of like the long version of that. Protecting the privacy of others is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe saying that if people wish to have something remain in the group, they should say that, while, you know, in terms of other asks, you know, some people will be wanting to get the word out about certain actions and things. So just being intentional about any privacy concerns and respecting those wishes of others.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So to communicate.
We have that.
Yeah. Levels of
Patience.
patience.
Yep. I know I have to sit on myself all the time not to talk.
All right. Well, I think we have a pretty good list here.
I guess mine isn't going to go down there.
Oh, which one was it? Sorry.
Patience.
Oh, yeah. Let's put that in expectations.
That's where I'm trying to. Thank you.
Sorry. Anybody else?
You know what might be is a good researcher. We really need that. People willing to do their homework.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I mean by good researcher.
So, and who can join?
What are the expectations of members? We're hoping, well.
Do your research. Yeah.
Do your research. Okay.
I think that's a really good one. Yeah, because a lot of times people share things that are misinformation, and then you know, it breaks trust. So making sure if you're gonna say, hey, everyone, please share this information, that you've actually done the research to make sure it's valid. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I am going to stop sharing this because I'm gonna pop up our Facebook group and share that. So I only have one person right now who wants to join this group. Where are you guys? All right, so now I'm going, oh, nope, we have more people. Why did it just say one? Okay, so approving you all. Okay, so now we have some members. And here we're gonna edit the questions for pending members. Okay, and so we have the option of doing multiple choice, check boxes, or a written answer. So first question was, do you guys remember questions that we were going to ask? So Vern, do you still have the whiteboard?
Yeah.
Okay. So what were the questions on there? Sorry, I didn't write them down.
Oh, that whiteboard. Oh, it stayed on the it.
I wrote it down.
Oh,
What
perfect.
experience?
Thank you.
What experience have you had in activism?
Okay. So what activism experience do you have? So that sounds like we're asking an essay. Do we want to just make that do you have experience in activism? Yes, no, then?
No, I'll tell you how the best way to do it is, because then we can find out the core, what our group is made up of, is have a whole list of them. Peace movement, you know, gay rights, women's rights, you know, if we had down, and then they would just check each one that they were active in. Then we would really get a profile of who's coming to the group. What do you think, folks?
That's good. I like that. And then, yeah, perfect. Are we able to list
Yes.
a bunch of those like that?
Okay.
Perfect.
So add an option. Environmental. Okay. social justice. Okay, what else? LGBTQ. How many? There's 2 more letters. What are they?
IA.
IA. Okay, thanks. Okay. What else?
You can do political.
Okay. Like, yeah, just political, the word political. Oh,
Yeah.
peace. Oh, shoot, we're out. We're out. Okay. So I'm going to say that.
Can you put them in one line with commas between them as a list that
Social justice, LGBTQIA,
one,
other,
examples?
or etc. Maybe. And that will give us, and then political. And then I think we could put peace under political, peace, etc. Okay. And now we have 2 more. So one could be, I am new to activism.
That's a good one.
And what else? What would be the last one?
Do animals fall under environmental?
Oh, you know what? I don't do. So yeah, okay. Like PETA and stuff, like animals.
Like pendolins and bats?
Maybe just animal activism would be its own little, yeah, right. Oops. Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
Rights.
Look so far, you guys. Is this? Do you think this will give us a good kind of idea of our membership?
I think we should expand the social justice because there's so many people have done it. Women's, besides LGBTQIA, I would put before that women's because that movement occurred before. And then LB, then that, and then black, how to say it? I don't want to say Black Rights Matter. That's one group. Help me out.
equal rights,
Well, or human rights.
human rights.
I mean, okay.
Minority, minority rights.
Except they're often the majority, but I know what you mean.
Currently not.
Yeah.
Is yeah. You know what? I'm going to put animal up with environmental because we need other. So other not listed here.
Okay,
And-
then go ahead. If you're going to put animal there, then put down plants. Because that'll cover trees that were taken down at San Pedro. Do we want to be more specific and say water rights, any of that kind of stuff, or not?
I think that probably falls under environmental.
Okay.
Oh, I spelled political. Come on, you guys, you got to catch me on this stuff.
Under that one, you'd also put down anti-war, because that's different from peace. Electoral. like Citizens United.
Is that social justice?
I think it's more political
Okay.
because I mean, people say don't talk politics, and you know what they're talking about. Don't talk about elections. Don't talk about the candidates.
Well, I mean, really, yeah, because it's really environmental, social, political, right, cultural.
Okay, what about the healthcare? Getting the national healthcare plan. Would that be in a whole separate category or not?
Yeah, I think that would be under political.
Under political. Okay.
All right. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and save that one. So should we add another question? Should we create rules? What other questions did we have?
The next one after that, momentito, is do you think before you act? That was the second one we had.
Okay. All right. Do we want a checkbox of yes, no, sometimes? Okay. And what else? I think 3 is good. So can you read all the questions that we had, or did we have more than 3?
I'm looking. No, I only had written 2 down, but I'm sure there's more.
Okay, well, does anyone want to throw one out while we're in here? Nope. Nope.
I didn't get to write down that do you think before you act. Can you go back to that screen for a moment so I can write it down, please? Yeah. Oops. Don't exit.
You wanted this one, right?
Yeah, wasn't there some category yes, no, sometimes? Okay. Thank you.
And so I'm going to add a question here. So, okay, these are really just to get people thinking, I think. Now we could also do, if we wanted to, this one is kind of hard. Instead of making this a multiple choice, we could also just make it a written answer and let people type in something.
That way we already have other not listed here.
Yeah.
So I think that encompasses what you were saying just now. I thought of a question.
Sure.
What days, let's see, what are your time constraints? 1 day a week? That's, I'm trying to get that.
Okay. I think we only get 3 questions.
Oh.
Do we want to change?
I think they look pretty good.
Okay.
Well, I think you could eliminate the do you think before you act, even though I said that, because we'll find that out in pretty short order. I think other questions would be more important than that. No, let's get the group in on this. What do you think, folks?
Would that question there be possibly be what groups are you a member of or support already? Is that evident somewhere? Or?
Well, I think that's about the same as what experience have you had in activism?
Yeah.
You don't think that would be about the same?
Um,
No, you're trying to sort out whether they're active now or whether they've been active in the past. Never mind. Forget what I said.
and then also, you know, they might be members of groups. All right, so let's go to create rules. There's some example rules. Be kind and courteous, no hate speech, no promotions or spam. All right, shall we get started? Write your own rule. Okay, so we went over, we talked about rules earlier. I guess we should have jumped right in here. I thought the whiteboard was going to be helpful. Marie, did you write down the rules that we had?
Yes.
Oh, you did. Awesome. Okay.
Okay. Let's see. It wasn't who can we join? Okay. What agreements do we? Is that the what are the expectations of members? Is that the one you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Peaceful. He already has that on the board though. Respectful. Tolerant. Open-minded. Whoops, am I going too fast? Be peaceful, respectful. Whoops. Motorcycle. Peaceful, tolerant, peaceful, respectful, tolerant, open-minded, cooperative,
Oh, we're out of
cooperative
space.
participation. It was 2 words.
Okay, so we're just going to leave it at and open-minded. And we can write in the description.
Cooperative participation.
We expect cooperative. Open heart. Yeah. Okay.
Keep your commitments.
Okay, so that could be a separate rule. Is that a new rule?
It was another one.
Okay. All right. Now create a second rule. Okay. Okay. Keep your commitments. Help others by supporting their actions.
This one might be part of it. Protect the privacy of others.
I think that should be its own rule, its own separate.
That's part of participating. Oh well. Okay.
Oh, sure. I mean, we can put it in there.
Protect the privacy of others. And then with that would be common confidentiality. When they ask for, just think in general.
Well, I mean, we want to protect the privacy, but also we're trying to help share stuff, share content. So if someone's saying, please share this, we're not protecting their privacy.
Oh, protect the privacy of others when requested. Next one will be confidentiality. Okay, both ways.
All right.
Right with this too, this goes together with it. That would be part of it. Don't spread misinformation.
I think that needs to be its own rule.
Okay.
To do your research that you said, right?
Yes. Do
Tell
your
the
research.
truth.
Make sure what you ask others to share has been verified.
There.
I heard somebody, I'm sorry, what did you say?
Tell the truth. It's the same thing, but
Yeah, that was next. That was good. Tell the truth.
that's an XR
Yeah.
premise. I like a lot of the XR premises.
Yeah.
And where do we want to put patience? Have patience. Is that another one?
Sure.
That's the end of it. Rome wasn't something like Rome wasn't built in a day. I don't know how to say that. Good.
Develop community. Is that in that? Participate, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's kind of, yeah.
You think it's its own? I don't know. I'm kind of going back to the what this group is, a digital community.
Mhm.
So
There's something, I think what you're getting at is where the concept of trust. Until we can trust each other, we won't be able to be a good group.
Okay, so be trustworthy.
promote trust. Or
That's it. Good.
Promote trust. Now that kind of goes back to do your research, yeah?
yeah, and confidentiality.
Let's edit these. So okay, promote trust. Okay, do your research,
That's good.
and then this one. What was the other thing he said?
Trust.
Patience. Sorry.
With that, go forth and enjoy your community. Hold on, I'm showing my whole stuff there. And please feel free to send me questions or reach out to me over the week. I hope you'll join me next week, and we'll be doing the Citizen Journalism class. I hope you got a lot out of this. Thank you. Group hug, everybody. Thank you.